Hey guys, before we start the interview, I just want to say in advance I do apologize for any audio issues slash video issues. We were making do with what internet Nick had at the time of this interview. I was kind of outside, and the internet might not be the greatest in Mexico. So again, I just want to apologize in advance for that. Either way, it was a fantastic interview. You guys are going to really enjoy it, and make sure you leave a like if you do enjoy it. Peace. Yo, what is up, guys? Scars here, or Brian, whatever you'd like to call me, and I am super excited to bring you guys a new friggin' interview today, man. I'm actually super excited. This one's particularly exciting because I'm interviewing somebody who's not like super big YouTube or anything like you guys have been seeing in the last few videos. I've been wanting to go more on the, low key end, just interviewing normal people like myself, yourself, that's been living across the country, across the world, doing new things. And we got another guy who actually did a little bit of teaching that's got quite a bit of traveling experience, and I'm going to pick his brain at that here in a little bit. His name is Nick. You also go by, what is that, DoDat, I think is how you go by?
Do that.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Cool, man. So I just got a few questions, obviously, that I'm curious on. I'm sure other people would be curious on with your kind of experience that you've had traveling. First of all, would you be able to just, maybe introduce yourself and maybe what got you into like teaching in the first place slash traveling?
Traveling thing is I'm Nick, 34 years old. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana, and I've been working construction my whole life, so I'm around Honduran, Nicaraguan, and Mexican people most of the day, all the time. So I picked up a little bit of Spanish while I was working with them, and I've always wanted to go to the country, either any of them really, but we were me and my girlfriend, we were at the house one day, and I just got off of probation, and so I could travel. I was sitting there in the house, and I said, we were watching a documentary about Nicaragua. So
Mm.
I asked, I said, okay, Google, how much is a one-way ticket to Nicaragua? It said $114. So,
Damn.
so we decided to buy the tickets and move out there. We started selling everything like on Let Go and on Marketplace and everything. Applied for our passports. Mine came in and my girlfriend didn't, so we didn't know
Wow.
until the day before we applied. So then I ended up going out by myself, and so I had to figure something out.
Yeah.
But once I got out there, I was terrified at first. I was going, I was terrified at first, but I was stuck out there. So it took me a little while to get used to it. But once I did, it worked out good. And I couldn't get enough of it. So I went back to Nicaragua again, and then I also went to Guatemala after that, and then Honduras after that, and now I'm currently in Mexico.
Wow. So you initially traveled to Nicaragua, you said, and you just got a one-way flight. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
I mean, did you just think like, okay, I'm just gonna pack up my stuff. I'm just gonna just basically have a new home. Just take a one way and have a new home
Yeah,
there.
that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna move out there, and since my girlfriend, she got medically discharged from the army,
Yeah.
we'd have been able to afford it. But since she couldn't come, I had to figure something out. And we didn't know until the day before we were gonna leave that she wasn't gonna get a passport. And I was like, well, I'm not moving in my dad's. You know what I mean? I was like, I gotta leave. I'll go see what this is about while we still try to get your passport issue taken care of. And that's how that happened. So went out there with the idea of moving out there with her and then figuring something out, but it just was ended up being me.
Yeah, for sure, man. And that to me, it's pretty insane to think about. I remember when I purchased a one-way flight to Vietnam, I kind of knew what I was going to expect, but you really never know until you actually get there, right? And it's
Not
that
at
culture
all.
shock, right? And with both of our experiences on the one-way flight thing, when you get there, you realize that nobody in this country really speaks much of any English. I'm
Yeah,
curious in your situation, did you know any Spanish or your girlfriend know any Spanish going into it?
I knew Spanish, not very well. When I found out when I got there, it was like all geared towards working. So it was it wasn't nothing that you'd use every day. It was just like sandpaper and the finishing, like take the joints and stuff like that. It was all
Right.
geared towards working. So and plus I had been a little while since I was working construction, so I was really rusty. But when I got there, I was just like, yeah, I didn't have a clue. Like the very first issue I had was they gave us a slip to fill out when we were on the airplane. I didn't have a pen and I couldn't read it anyway. So
Gee.
I didn't know. Yeah, I was like, so I just had it blank, but they were sitting there right outside the plane checking everybody's paper, and I was like, so they stopped me and I started filling it out like the best I could. And when I got to customs, I mean, my phone stopped working as soon as I got there.
Wow.
I didn't, my card stopped working, and I didn't have any of their currency, so I was like,
Wow.
yeah.
Did,
So no, it was I basically had to everything that you use every day. I had to learn. So
damn. You didn't have any like at that time, like with immediately when you got there and you noticed your card wasn't working, your phone wasn't working, and stuff. You didn't have like a mini freak out moment, like, oh shit, like what's going on?
yeah, I did. I did. I was like, I just destroyed my life. I was like, oh man. I was like, this is gonna be so embarrassing because I got to go on a away party and everything. You know what I mean? I was like, oh man.
Yeah.
Like, I feel
I'm curious on that, man, because you know, obviously you got a one-way flight to Nicaragua. You kind of just did it on a whim thing. Did you like have the means of supporting yourself financially getting there initially, or did you find a job or an opportunity to get a job when you got there, or how'd that work?
I sold. I had some money saved up, and then I sold everything I had. Like, and I sold
Mhm.
it real cheap. I had like a regular Nintendo with Mike Tyson's Punch Out. I had Super Nintendo, my Sega. I
Damn.
sold everything, but I sold it dirt cheap. So I had like $500 and something dollars cash,
Wow.
and then on my card, which is a Walmart debit card, a Walmart money card, and it said it has international fees, so I figured I was good. But it didn't. It didn't. And it didn't work at all. So I had $500 when I got there, and I was like, oh. So
Wow.
and plus I had all my cash on me, and I was like, and I was terrified. I was like, cause I was walking down the street with a bag, and I packed to move there, not to stay there for a weekend. So I brought a bunch of stupid stuff. You know what I mean? So
Wow.
it was heavy, heavy, heavy.
Wow.
So
That I mean, that's crazy, man. I mean, I couldn't even imagine. I mean, I assume you did at least some form of research before you went to Nicaragua just to see like kind of like what
big
you're gonna
time.
expect. And again, I know obviously it's so difficult to research and think about what the concept of the country is going to be, and then actually getting there and like you said, getting there and things weren't working. You're like, oh damn, like what am I going to do? How am I going to get everything situated? You know, so you have to
Right.
kind of get yourself mentally in that place. You know, get used to the
It,
culture
it,
shock.
it looked nothing like it did on Street View either. They must have did the Street View in the rainy season because it was
Yeah.
like the dry season, so it was like a desert, dusty everywhere. And I was like, oh, and I landed, and I didn't look by the airport. I just kind of looked in certain areas that I wanted to go.
Right.
And you know how most of the airports, they're always kind of like not the best of neighborhoods surrounding them. So, and I was walking, I was like, oh man, this is bad. But it
Damn.
was, yeah. And see, the thing is, in Nicaragua, this is like the like right after they started having those riots.
Yeah.
Um, and I wasn't really informed about all that. I didn't know, but even so, I still believe that it's usually pretty empty. Like any restaurant you go to, you're the only one eating anything really. So when I first started walking away, there was a casino. It looked like it was deserted, but I seen one cab car in there, and so I went in there and asked them if I could use their Wi-Fi. But it looked like everything was just deserted. It was like nobody spending money everywhere like it is in the states. It was just kind of just people going from one place to another, but they weren't inside in no bars or nothing like that, or just hanging out. You would think the casino would have a lot of people, but it had nobody.
Yeah. Damn, man,
So
that's wild. Yeah, I mean, again, we're talking about massive differences between here in the states and then you know there in those kind of countries. Um, I'm kind of now, obviously, to the main part of what I'm personally curious of is your time in Honduras. What was kind of the transition point from going from Nicaragua to Honduras? Why did you go there, and where in Honduras did you live at the time?
all right, well, the reason why I went to Honduras, well, let me rewind back. So when I was in Nicaragua, I, I, I got to I got to a hostel, and then I finally ended up meeting somebody who was he was an American who told me where to go, and then I ended up going to that town, which is called Esteli, which is really nice. But I was
Hmm.
still like depressed, and I was still trying to talk to my girlfriend and see if how everything was going with her passport, and she was just kind of like dead end.
Hmm.
So I ended up buying a ticket back, which was like I set it out for like three weeks. It was usually about the time that to where the prices drop. So it was like $125 to get back. And so, but once I set, and I had the 3 weeks, I had that date. I was relieved, so I got to go start seeing around everywhere and got comfortable and got to know the place. Well, so the 3 weeks I flew back to go help her go get the passport, and I had to stay by my dad, which I haven't stayed by my dad since I was young. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
it was really awkward. So well, the passport we refiled for her passport, and took care of all that. And I was like, well, I mean, I can't stay here too, you know what I mean? So I bought another ticket back to Nicaragua. And that's when I really started enjoying it. But long story short, I started running out of money, and I came back, and I worked for a little bit, and when I saved up a little bit of money, I went to Guatemala with a friend of mine. I was gonna stay there for a while, but
Hmm.
the person who I was working for, he needed help, so I came back. So we only stayed like 3 weeks right there.
Right.
But so then I was renting a room at this place that was kind of it was a shared house, so it was like 3 bedrooms, and it was like different people lived in each room. You shared the kitchen and all that. And after I stayed there for a little while, and I was gearing up to go to Honduras, which some of my best friends are Honduran, and so
Uh,
I I paid for a workaway account, which is $45 for the year,
yeah.
and I was just going through looking for maintenance jobs to go. You know what I'm saying? They give you free room and board usually, and then you work like 4 or 5 hours a day.
Right.
So I was looking at maintenance ones, but they were like a lot of teaching ones. I was like, there's no way they're gonna let me teach. You know what I mean? I only went to seventh grade,
Right.
and I went to college afterwards, community college. I got my GED, but I didn't have any I didn't graduate from there or nothing like that.
Hmm.
And but as soon as they're the first people that accepted it. They were like, "Yeah, come on, we'd love to have you." I was like, "All right." So I did. I went out there, and I was gonna go stay for a while. But my friends that were Honduran I was mentioned, I told them I said that and so their family had came down and visited them quite a few times, and we had let them stay by our house, and I had met their family before, and a few of them had came work with us and went back. Anyway, I asked them if he knew any places where I could rent or I could stay, or just some kind of insider information, basically.
Hmm.
And he said, "Yeah, I got a place for you, man," because he had 3 houses because he's been out there working for like 12 years. Sending his money back, and he's got like 3 houses. He's like, "Yeah, I got a place for you. You just call me whenever you get there." So
Right.
I just had a backup plan. So I went out there, and I started teaching. As soon as I got there, they were just like, "Come on in," and I was just like, "All right." And it was pretty cool. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I think we were kind of briefly. I don't remember if it was from email or the YouTube comment section when we were talking about this, but in Honduras, when you were teaching, you said that you mentioned something along the lines of you weren't actually getting a salary or pay for it; that you were more along the lines of living with folks that maybe were associated with the school or something in that matter. Could you kind of just give a little more insight on how that works?
So what it was with Workaway, how it works is these schools are, from what I can tell, the majority of them are private schools
Mm-hmm.
that offer they're private bilingual schools. So what they'll do is that they get on Workaway, but they the majority, like the principal and the owner or whoever, they
Mm-hmm.
don't really speak very well English at all either. So they I don't know how they initially set up the Workaway or how they know about it, but they set up a Workaway. They get somebody come down there and handle all the Workaway stuff. So they got this one girl. Her name was Phoebe, and she was like the head of household, but she was like just like me and you. You know, she's 24 years old, and she just come out there and she set up she took over the workaway account from somebody previously, so they've been doing this for a while, and they pretty much leave it up to her to pick and choose who comes in and who goes, and to put like Facebook promotions and get some of her friends and friends of friends, and just does all the setting it all up basically, and
Hmm.
runs the workaway, and they have a house where they try to like put bunk beds or just get as many teachers pretty much as possible, and they share the house, so it's kind of like living in a dorm, like
Yeah.
a co-ed dorm, and you did get like a new person every month or so.
Wow. That's kind of interesting, man. How does that play into the visa situation? First of all, as a U.S. citizen, I know it's extremely easy to go to Latin America, Mexico, these kind of places. We really don't have too much trouble with it. However, I am curious on the specific type of visa that you might need in order to work there. Now, I know it's a workaway program. You're not actually earning money per se. Do you get any kind of extended visa to stay there longer periods of time because you're on this?
I,
Does the government assist with that, or is that how does that work exactly? How
I
are you
think
doing
it's
it?
I think it's possible, but they don't do it like that. What they do is they get a bus, and all of the volunteers go at on the same day, and they just you can't go from Honduras to Nicaragua or Honduras to Guatemala. You have to go to either Belize or Costa Rica, and you just
Hmm.
got to cross the border, stamp out, stamp back in, and they stay there for a day. And then they usually make a trip out of it. There's like the ruins and Copan, and then they'll go check something out each time, and they'll stay for the day and come right back, and they'll have the whole 3 months.
Yeah. How so you all would go together across the border and then
Yeah,
come back in. Okay. And were you able to do this as many times as you wanted? And how long would that visa last every time you did it?
it's 90 days, and you can do it indefinitely. Yeah, you just
Wow.
go over there across. Yeah.
Wow.
So
Okay.
they actually have like a term for it in Honduras, Nicaragua. They call it a border run. Just go out to the border, renew their visa, and come back. And if you overstay, a buddy of mine did it in Nicaragua for 4 months. They charged him $100 a month on his way out.
Wow. Jesus.
Yeah,
Yeah, it gets expensive, especially when you're there, so
yeah,
if you don't have any other means of income anyways. But yeah, that's cool, man. So that's actually a lot of great information regarding to Honduras. Obviously, I assume the visa process to initially go there, like if you were to just get a one-way flight, can you get a visa on arrival, for example, to like the Honduras or something like that, or how's that work?
yeah. You get a visa right on arrival. Nicaragua is $10, but Honduras and Guatemala is free. I don't know why, but like you just go in there and you just basically the paperwork that you fill out is the paperwork for the visa, and you just tell them what flight you came in, what
Hmm.
your name and all your information. And you just gotta put an address of where you're going, and then they just take your word for it and then give you a stamp.
Yeah.
See that when I first got to Nicaragua, I wasn't aware of that. My cell phone didn't work right off the bat, and I didn't have the address to put it, and I couldn't call nobody or nothing like that. So
Right.
that was my hold up at customs, was trying to figure out an address. So I got on my I downloaded the offline maps beforehand,
Hmm.
and so thank God I had that, and I just found a spot on the phone right there real quick, and just filled that out on the I didn't even know where it was. I just picked the spot on the map, and then just okay, cool, $10, and there you go.
Wow. Ah, damn, that's an easy process, man. So obviously, I'm gonna have to
Yeah,
ask the
like
most.
I've heard rumors of
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I've heard rumors of you needing to show a return flight or some other ways of that you're gonna
Yeah.
leave,
Hmm.
but it never happened.
Wow. So you just buy one way and you can do that border run that you're talking about and you're fine indefinitely, essentially, right?
Yeah, there are people that if you join like the expat groups of in those countries, because there's actually like I don't know where you're living at right now, but in the United States, where in New Orleans, they have like Latino communities throughout there. You can see, you know what I mean, and they kind of like got their grocery stores and restaurants or whatever, and they got the same thing, but for like Americans back over there. So they got like
Wow.
expat groups on Facebook, and they'll actually like put on like a little post saying, "Hey, it's going on the border run. Anybody want to split this cab or this bus or you know, they do it. It's a regular thing."
That's sick, man. Yeah, I'm in Southwest Florida though, so I have even more of the like the Latino culture down here. So
Oh yeah,
even
yeah, you
even
got a big
closer.
time.
Yeah, 100%. So obviously, I got to ask the most important question regarding to your travel experience, which is being a gringo, right? Being a white guy, essentially. When you're traveling to a place like Latin America, Mexico might be a little different. I have no idea, but Latin America more
It
specifically.
is for some reason.
Yeah, I was gonna say with Latin America specifically, how were you treated as a white guy, as a foreigner there? Now, obviously, Nicaragua, Guatemala, Honduras are a little bit different. I would like to think they're collectively the same, maybe in terms of how people would treat you. There's obviously this huge stigma, as you know, about Latin America being extremely dangerous. Honduras being, they've called it the murder capital of the world on a couple of occasions. I kind of want to tie that into two parts here. First of all, in your personal experience and maybe through your girlfriend's perspective, how were you guys treated living in Latin America? And
She never got her
what's that?
She never got her passport.
Oh, she never did get it. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought she did later
No,
on. Wow.
no,
Okay.
no. That's why we're in Mexico because we're going back down towards Honduras, Nicaragua by land.
Oh, that makes sense now. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
okay, then more particularly for you, how did people treat you as a foreigner, as a white guy specifically? And tying into that, did you ever feel like once, like, wow, this is really dangerous? I feel like somebody might be trying to rob me. Has anyone ever, try to rob you or any attempts or anything like that? But let's start with how did people treat you in general there?
They treat you amazingly. I mean, you got a couple of the older people that were like for instance, that I could see how they would feel. I'm just assuming this, but like I I would kind of have some kind of bitter feeling towards them if they could just come to my country and I couldn't go to theirs. But
Yeah.
everybody like, and it's only happened like maybe 2 or 3 times. Like for instance, one time I asked this one guy, I was like, "Hey, do you have the time?" And I said it in Spanish, it's KOS. And he just looked at me, and I thought he didn't hear me, so I said it again. He was looking at his phone when I asked him. He's like, "No." But
Wow.
other than that, everybody else is great. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
especially if they see that you're trying to understand, like you're trying to speak their language, and you're not like kind of like you gotta check your ego back at the airport or whatever because like
Right.
um you're gonna be doing a lot of different things than you would normally do when you were at your house. And if you're like, oh, and you kind of like, I don't think that would settle too well. But they're whenever they see that you're trying to speak Spanish or whatever, that you're embracing their culture, and that you don't have that because a lot of people have that feeling. As a matter of fact, I met a family that became my good friends, and
Mm-hmm.
he's like, he lived in Nicaragua, and he's like, you're the only second gringo that I've he either said to call my friend or that I ever talked with, and he's like, I was like, why? He's like, because I thought all gringos just thought that we were trying to rob them.
Wow.
Yeah, so
No
I was like,
kidding. This is in
and
Honduras?
so that was in Nicaragua, but
Nicaragua. Mm.
in Honduras, I went to stay with a family on a coffee farm, and they fed me, they kept me, they let me stay at the house. I stayed there for like a month and a half or something like that. They showed me around. We got to go to work with them every day. It was too cool. Everybody was like, hey, hey, every time
Wow.
we were in the back of the truck. Yeah, it was too. And then when I got home, when I got home, they called because you had to get up on this one spot on the mountain to get cell service, and then they all were up in the mountain in that one little spot on the hill. Called me for my birthday. My parents forgot my birthday. They called me on my birthday. I don't even know how they knew. It was
Wow.
too cool. Yeah,
Wow,
yeah, man.
man.
They cry, man.
That's crazy,
Yeah, it's
man.
pretty
That
cool.
is
Yeah, yeah.
insane. It goes to show you the hospitality too that that the people of Latin America show. a lot, and
right,
just
right.
how friendly they are. And I've noticed a small part of that through my relationship with my girlfriend, who's from Honduras as well, and just how hospitable her family seems to be. Um,
Right.
Tying into which, though, again, with, all the positives, everyone treating you super well, did you ever feel like there was any moments of danger that maybe you were feeling threatened, or anyone had, because again, when we're talking about Latin America, everyone has this idea that it's a super dangerous place to be. Did you ever feel like once you were in danger?
Other than your typical walking down the street, it's dark and you're just like, oh, what's that?
Yeah.
Other than that, no, not at all.
Wow.
That now the one thing that does kind of gets under your skin a little bit. If you go to the touristy areas, you stand out like a sore thumb, and then
Yeah.
like the people coming to you for anything, they're just trying to. If they're gonna if they want to get money from you, the way that they're gonna get it from you is by like overcharging you or like selling you something you really don't need. They're not gonna just. I mean, I've heard that they do rob you, but I haven't seen it myself. The only way they get me is charge me extra for cabs if I don't know where I'm at, or for instance, like this was here in Mexico though, but we were looking for a hotel. We didn't know where it was, so we
Yeah.
asked the cabs, and then we were asking how much, because I knew the name of it was. It had like a card for it. So how much would it cost to go to the hotel right here? It was like 50 pesos, and it was literally like 4 buildings down, and he drove us to it.
Wow.
He could have just pointed, yeah, but shit like that. So it's other than that, I haven't felt any kind of negative or anything like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, with regards to like from my experience in Vietnam, for example, I keep comparing the two because it just sounds kind of like my time there. In the touristy areas, I absolutely 100% know exactly where you're coming from. I feel like people were trying to upcharge me more. I feel like more people were trying to sell me things more on a regular basis because they know I'm a tourist in the touristy part of the town. I also felt like I was kind of maybe not disassociated with the locals, but it just didn't feel as authentic as when I would just go out random part of the city, far on the outskirts. People would treat me completely differently. Like people were staring
Yeah,
at me, trying to come up take photos with me. Did you notice the difference between the tourist parts and the
yeah,
outskirts?
big time. That's where I live in. I live in the outskirts now. There's no other gringos out here at all. But
Yeah.
like, when you, if you, I put it this way: like, if you're in an area where there's people like out there just begging, you're basically they're gonna be out there in the same area where they're gonna come after the tourists as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so like in the neighborhoods where you normally wouldn't see somebody just sitting out there panhandling, you're they're not used to doing that, and I guess they don't have that mechanism built in, and people just treat you like a known person, but they do stare. It does make you feel awkward there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's definitely different, bro. Now I guess I could speak more now on your current situation where you're at now. You're currently in Mexico. Obviously you don't have to say specifically where, but I am curious as to, the differences going from Latin America to Mexico. What have you noticed that's been different so far?
Well, I mean, I'm not afraid to say I'm in Ecatepec, Mexico,
Okay.
which if you look up if you look up the crime stats there, I mean, we was like when we first started to go to this place, and I had to look it up and looked it up online afterwards, and I was like terrified. But I'm glad we came because I still had no problem here neither.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, look it up after we get off of this, and
Hmm.
you'll see it's like the crime stats is horrible, but it's lovely out here though. I almost didn't come, man. I was terrified. But so what was the other part of the question?
I was gonna ask, what kind of differences have you noticed between there and Latin America so far?
Oh, the difference between all right, a lot more people speak English. There's you can pretty much I got Amazon packages over here. In Nicaragua, the addresses go by like all right. For instance, the one place that I was staying at, it was a place $40 a month. We were renting it, and the address was by the Los Mangoes, which is you go by the big mango trees, take a right 2 streets up. Is really what was written down on the envelope. And one cab driver told me that it's sad because he's older. In 1971 or 72, they had a massive earthquake,
Wow.
and so a lot of things got destroyed. But a
Wow.
lot of the addresses are still named after stuff that's not there anymore.
Wow.
So so you don't really have any mail over in Latin America. You can't get nothing really unless you do like DHL with some other kind of private shipping company. Is hard to get. And then it's more advanced than Mexico, and I feel like Mexico is like on its way to becoming like the United States. They got like more building codes, permits, and like they're starting to regulate things more. It seems like, whereas in Nicaragua, everything's just like Wild Wild West, I guess. You know what I mean? It seems like it's back in time more.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me, man. Now being in Mexico right now, are
Yeah.
you back to teaching again, or are you doing some other form of work, or how's that been going since you got there?
Well, now schools are all on they're online, man. That's what kind of hung me up. But
Fair.
so
Yeah.
I saved like around 8 grand before we left to come out here,
Oh,
and then
Jesus.
yeah, I saved it up. But and then the stimulus is, so I've been living off the stimulus and that. So
True.
that's about it. Yeah. So I mean, but my rent here, like at a 2 bedroom, I got a 2 bedroom apartment, all utilities included. I'm up here on the roof right now. Let's see if we can look around right quick. Let's see. Can I turn this thing around?
Yeah,
Let's
you
see.
should be able to turn it around.
Nope. One thing. Let's see. Find it. Here it is. All right. Let's see.
Oh, sweet. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah,
There you
check it
go,
out.
guys. That's Mexico right there.
Yeah, look at the Mexican cable going up there. And so it's all utilities. That's like a cab stand out here in a bus stop.
Wow.
Um, it's $126 a month. So
126,
uh,
huh?
yeah, with utilities and everything. So,
It's not a bad deal, man. It's not a bad deal.
yeah.
I mean, completely different looking from anywhere else you would probably see here in the U.S. Like, again, but
Yeah,
that 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 kind of gives me that reminder of like what Vietnam was like too. The streets were kind of designed that way. The houses, they're kind of more shack-like almost like that. So it's definitely kind of gives me a throwback from back then. But yeah, that's sick, bro. It looks like a beautiful area too. The
I was,
mountainside and everything.
yeah, it is. When I was in at the workaway teaching at the school, they had this chick that came in, and she just came from somewhere, either like the Philippines or Vietnam, something like that. She's like,
Hmm.
man, it seems like the same exact thing.
Yeah.
She's like, the area looks the same, the people look the same. The
Right.
only difference is just the toilet's different. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, so
Absolutely, yeah. So, well, I'm just about to wrap it up too with regards to questions that I have. I finally kind of want to ask regarding the job market and opportunities for teachers or maybe other people who want to get into other professions between your time in Latin America and Mexico. First of all, we start with Latin America. Do you feel like there's still good opportunities to get, say, a teaching job? Because I feel like that's what most people in our situation would be able to get a job through in Latin America. Is it easy to get a job there to teach? And how should people go about it usually? I think you were mentioning Facebook previously.
well, so when I was in Honduras, when I was finishing up my trip, I was at a hospital coming back,
Yeah.
waiting by the in San Pedro Sula, which is where the airport is,
Hmm.
and I was staying like there for like 2 days, and they had another guy coming from a different part of Honduras, and he said he just got done a teaching job where they offered him like he stayed there 2 months, and he had to go, and they offered him like $200 US a month, plus they pay for his border crossing fees,
Wow.
and still have room and board, and etc. And but he couldn't stay. He had to go. So
Wow.
I was like, hey man, let me get the contact info for that. Well, on Workaway, which is the same site that he used to get that job, if you put where you're going and where you're at the time, so like anybody else who's on Workaway will know that you're in the area. Well, before I even got the contact her, she offered me his spot. So that was the plan. I was gonna come back because I worked the Flambeau for Mardi Gras in New Orleans,
Yeah.
and I was coming back for Christmas in the Flambeau. So I was gonna be back for December, January, February, and then I was gonna fly back in April 1st. Actually, it was my flight back, and COVID stopped that, and they canceled my flights like a
Yeah.
week beforehand. So
Yeah.
I, so like I instantly got another job like that, and I um I contacted her like a month or two ago and asked her if she still needed any help. She said they're still on online or not in school at least. I'm not sure if
Mm.
they were online or not, but she said to contact her back. Actually, in February, but I hadn't contacted her back yet. But so as soon as school starts back up, I'm positive you can easily get a job.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, that's a tough situation with the COVID thing going on. So hopefully things are starting to go back in the right direction. I know at least as far as the U.S. is concerned, you know, things have semi gone back to normal with the vaccines and stuff that's been getting into place. So hopefully we'll see that kind of go throughout the rest of the world, and when that happens, jobs will open up and things will start getting better from there. But yeah, that's sick, man. Thank you so much for all the info that you've given. Hey, what's up? What's up? I don't know if they
Yeah,
can hear me, but you could tell them that I'm
no,
doing an interview.
say hello. But I will in a minute.
Yeah,
So
for sure. Hey, but yo, thank you so much, Nick, for all the info. Is there any advice maybe you want to give to people who are interested in going out traveling, working abroad, anything like that you could give them since you've had so much experience doing it?
just stay off the like the unbeaten trail. You know what I mean? Like just kind of just go off and do your own thing. And you'll have it's way better. I mean, it'll be scary at first, but you'll have a way better time.
I agree 100%, bro. Yeah, so like you said, guys, I mean, and Nick's been in some of the more, you know, what people would consider dangerous countries. He's seen so much stuff out there, and he's telling you know, take the opportunity to go out there. I would assume you would advise use common sense if you're out there. Don't do anything you wouldn't do here in the US to get yourself in trouble,
Well,
right?
yeah, and then one thing like I noticed, like when you're in a more like a worse area or whatever, people know that they have that perception of them, and they kind of out their way to go against it to show you that it's not like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I mean that's how I feel at least, because I mean it just seems that way. So I mean I don't know, but
I 100% agree. And again, you know, when it comes to traveling, guys, if you're gonna go out and travel abroad, I would say make sure you do your research, make sure you know what you're getting yourself into. You know, but again, that's only half the equation. You know, once you actually get there, that's kind of the other half where you have to do the exploring and figure it out for yourself too.
yeah,
And I feel like that I've experienced that, Nick's experienced that, and you know, just go out and do your thing. And hopefully with COVID vaccines getting into place, things going back to semi-normal, people will get that opportunity to do it again this year. So should be good. But Nick, thank you so much again, man, for all the information on your time traveling abroad. I hope to see you do more in the future, and I'd love to do maybe another interview just about more experience that you get in the future. So thank you
all right, cool.
everybody for watching. Nick, you have a YouTube channel as well, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's DoDat. I don't know. I'm not sure if it'll pop up when you search it though, but that's what it is.
You
Capital
can link
D.
it to me, and I can also share it in the description. So
All right, cool. Sure, thank you.
yeah, absolutely. So thank you guys so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed. Man, make sure you check out Nick's channel. He's super humble, down to earth guy, and I think you guys would enjoy his content. He's got so much travel experience in Latin America, and now being in Mexico, probably going back to Latin America again soon, and should be a lot of cool things to see from him. So thank you guys again for checking out the video. Make sure you check out my social media stuff down in the description below, and till next time for the next interview. See you guys later. Peace.